Tenkaichi 4 is happening! Bandai Namco just announced Tenkaichi 4 during the Dragon Ball FighterZ World Championship last week, which is funny because they just announced another new Dragon Ball video game, a digital version of the Dragon Ball Super card game, like a month ago. Also, we're still getting DLC for Dragon Ball Z Kakarot and Xenoverse 2. I'm kind of amazed Dragon Ball is still so profitable for them. Like, I understand the anime since it's an all-time classic, but for them to still be making this many video games is kinda crazy. Time to get excited and speculate. It's weird that they're even making a Tenkaichi 4, because Xenoverse already sort of felt like a natural progression of the Tenkaichi games, at least when you play as any character aside from the customizable main character. I guess Bandai Namco figures the Tenkaichi series has the brand recognition, though I would think if they were going to go for brand recognition they would have gone for Budokai 4 instead. Maybe they thought they had already exhausted the original Budokai formula after Infinite World. But I guess that was really the whole point of Xenoverse, to play as your OC alongside classic Dragon Ball Z characters and classic Dragon Ball Z battles, with some random what-if scenarios here and there. Oh man, do you think they're gonna bring back the what-if stories in Tenkaichi 4? I always thought the ones in the Tenkaichi trilogy were kinda dumb because of the lackluster presentation, but since they're coming straight from Dragon Ball Z Kakarot, which had amazing cutscenes and animation, this could be great. The what-if scenarios in the original Budokai trilogy were a lot of fun. What with the things like Goku and Krilkalo? It's been a while. I can't actually remember what all the what-if scenarios were in those games. But still, it could be a lot of fun. This just raises so many questions. Is the gameplay actually going to be like the Tenkaichi games rather than Xenoverse and Kakarot? After all, Xenoverse and Kakarot actually had some improvements over the Tenkaichi series. Are they going to keep any of those? That's not even mentioning the Raging Blast games, which were basically Tenkaichi 4 and 5 anyway. The only thing they were really missing was the absolutely massive character roster from the Tenkaichi games. Probably the most memorable and defining aspect of the Tenkaichi games, the characters. So many characters. 98 to be exact. 161 if we're including different transformations. I would love to have all those characters back. Is it gonna happen? I don't know. Xenoverse 2 only had 68 characters in the base game, and I don't know, like 100 when you include the DLC? Did you know there have been 14 DLC packs released for Xenoverse 2? That is so much DLC. Who's buying all of these DLC packs? I hope Tenkaichi 4 doesn't have that many DLC packs. Like, don't get me wrong, it's cool if they add to the game after launch, but beyond 1 or 2 packs, it just gets excessive and confusing. I thought maybe there were like 3 or 5 packs tops for Xenoverse 2 until researching for this video. But no, 14 DLC packs and a 15th one still on the way. That's so silly. 38 extra characters that weren't in the base game, and you have to buy them in sets of like 2 or 3. At that point, just hold on to them all for a few years and release them all at once, you know? And they've been so focused on marketing Dragon Ball Super lately, with the manga still going. Is that going to be the focus this time around? Are they even going to include original Dragon Ball characters or Dragon Ball GT characters? Are we going to have Super Saiyan 4 and Super Saiyan God Super Saiyan in the same game? And not just have it be oops all Gokus? And the balancing. One of my least favorite parts of the Tenkaichi trilogy was the horrible balancing. It made sense, right? To have Hercule, or I guess Mr. Satan as he's called now, way weaker than Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta, but when you're playing multiplayer, you don't want the difference to be that huge. Or maybe you do. It does sort of make a good handicap when those who are super familiar with the game are playing against those who aren't. Ideally, they'll have a bunch of settings you can toggle, where you can decide if you want it to be an actual Dragon Ball simulator, where the characters with higher power levels are actually way stronger and have more health than the weaker characters, or you can choose to have a more balanced fight, so you can choose whatever character you want when sparring with someone with a similar experience level as you. There are just so many questions right now. Are they going to have at least 60 characters in the base game? With more of a focus on graphics nowadays, it's hard to say. I'm sure it's going to have some Dragon Ball Super characters. Is it going to have the original Dragon Ball characters from the movies, GT? Is it going to have the giant characters like Great Apes and Janemba? Are they going to have alternate costumes? How many maps is it going to have? What maps is it going to have? Are they going to bring back any of the old music tracks? What's the new music going to be like? I sure hope they bring back some of the music tracks, because some of that stuff was great. From what I can tell, people are super excited for this. I haven't seen these levels of hype in the community since FighterZ, which looked really cool and a lot of people really loved, but I just wasn't a huge fan of it. The gameplay was too traditional fightery, too repetitive for me. The art style and animation was fantastic, but I just prefer the variety of being able to move around in a 3D space. Or even what I found to be the more interesting gameplay style of the original Budokai trilogy. But this is all just speculation for now. What are your thoughts? Are you excited for Tenkaichi 4? Do you think we're going to get it anytime soon, or do you think we're going to have to wait another 3 years? Let me know in the comments, and remember to like and subscribe or whatever so you can see my follow-up when the game eventually comes out. Thanks for watching!